Good morning. Michael Saylor is so bullish on Bitcoin. He believes the bull run's going to go for the next 10 years. I've got a video to show you. As well as that, Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum starting putting out pro-Bitcoin propaganda. Incredibly interesting. We're going to talk about that. But let's just jump straight in to Michael Saylor. This Bitcoin Atlantis. Let's get it.
I don't think anything has to happen this year in particular. It's already happened. But I do think if we're talking about the future of Bitcoin, I think that we're in the Bitcoin gold rush era. And it started in January of 2024, and it will run till about November of 2034. It's a 10-year. And the reason how many people know what happened in November of 2034? It's an important date, you know. If you pull Clark Moody's dashboard, you'll see that. In November of 2034, 99% of all the Bitcoin will have been mined. And the last 1% comes out over the next 100 years. So for all practical purposes, stock to flow becomes irrelevant. The stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin is infinity in 2034. It's within the tolerance of just random hourly trading of the asset. So it becomes noise. I don't think
2034, the bull run is going to continue to keep going on. And at that time, the Bitcoin stock to flow ratio gets to infinity. Absolutely bullish. We've got a couple more videos from Michael Saylor, Klaus Schwab. I just want to shout out to everyone here in the chat. Johnny Midas, we had Gargoyle in the chat there. California, sunny California. Skins, good morning from Victoria, Australia. Cyber Dude, g'day from Florida. Gargoyle asking to get Michael Saylor, the GOAT, on the show. I promise it will happen. When? Maybe it takes a month, maybe it takes the next 5 to 10 years. My promise to you is Michael Saylor will come on this channel. Now, I've got a couple more videos to get through this morning. Simply Bitcoin posted this. Saylor talks about his journey and why Bitcoin's so important. And then we'll dive into Klaus Schwab's pro-Bitcoin propaganda. It's absolutely amazing. Over to you again, Saylor. Shout out to everyone watching this morning.
You know who was a denier? Me. And you know what I became next? A skeptic. And then at some point, I looked and I said, you know, the world's kind of messed up and interest rates are zero and my dollars are generating zero. I'm going to buy Bitcoin, and I became a trader. And then after I bought the Bitcoin, I started reading a lot more and listening to a lot more podcasts and thought about it, and I realized, no, I should be an investor. You know, and I would say when you started hearing about me, I was kind of at the investor stage, but it was everybody in this community and every Bitcoin podcaster and every writer and every educator that collectively got me over the line to becoming a maximalist, where I said,
let's go. The reason I posted that is because Michael Saylor clearly reads the Bitcoin books, and this saying that we have on the show, read the books or eat the bugs. Michael Saylor, proof is in the proof of work. The work has worked. It's absolutely amazing to see the conviction, that journey that happens. As you get into it, you see that number go up, technology, which is happening. We'll dive into the price as well. You can see I've drawn a line on there as well. You can see it here, that blue line. Bitcoin's just going up and to the right forever. Laura, obviously not financial advice. But when we're reading it, when we're studying, when we're learning, when we buy, when we stack, and when we chill, it's super easy. It's the quickest way to get incredibly wealthy over a relatively short period of time. Even if you buy the top of the cycle, hold it for 4 years and it's all gravy. Baby, we really are so early. And I'm not sure how to take this. This is by the World Economic Forum. We'll play the whole video, but the narrative is shifting. We've talked about the World Economic Forum slowly changing their tune over time. And the reason why I thought that is because they put out that video where they're pro data centers. And when they put out that video where they're pro data centers, they used Crusoe Energy, I believe, which is a Bitcoin mining operation, a Bitcoin mining firm. And they didn't mention Crusoe Energy by name. They didn't say it was a Bitcoin miner, but Crusoe Energy was a Bitcoin miner, and that's the company that they showcased. I said, I bet you they need to do this slowly because they've been so against it. Obviously, Larry Fink is now into Bitcoin. Larry Fink is one of the people that runs the world, so of course they're going to change their tune. It's not surprising, but now for them to come out like this so blatantly for Bitcoin One, it's pretty interesting. Let me just get rid of that sound that's not that pleasant on the ears. It's probably not as entertaining just listening to it without the music, but that music's so bad. So basically, they're using the Bitcoin to pay for salaries, infrastructure, their excess energy from 3 hydroelectric plants. This is in the Congo, and they talk about all the propaganda, the pro-propaganda. It's good for the environment. It's using the sustainable energy. It's not wasting that energy. It's paying for salaries, infrastructure. It's allowing them to do good work. This is the messaging now around Bitcoin. We've truly won. This is absolutely incredible to see. After all this time, all these FUD campaigns, I wonder if Greenpeace will be next, because they got paid, I think it was $5 million from XRP Ripple to put out negative Bitcoin propaganda. And they did that pretty effectively. They made up all this nonsense. I wonder if they will now change their tune. What do you think about that? Shout out to everyone in the chat. I can see you are all having a good time. Rally, good Sunday morning. Bitcoin will make elite based your actions. Bitcoin will make elite based on your actions and thoughts, and not just a genetic lottery winner. McLovin, g'day Sean, sup, legends. Hey, hodlers, Scott Tane, baseline, Benny in the house. Saylor, very giving considering he's a billionaire. And I mean, how many billionaires would go to so many events, podcasts, and the crowd goes wild. I will jump into the chat shortly. I thought this was a pretty good summary by the Bitcoin therapist here in regards to what Klaus Schwab is doing, changing his tune. Let us know what your thoughts are on Klaus Schwab putting out pro-Bitcoin propaganda. Like, what is going on? The world is upside down. It's a little bit disturbing, in my opinion, as inevitable with Larry Fink, but I'd love to know what you think of Klaus Schwab putting out these videos. And obviously it's not Klaus Schwab. The WEF is a large organization, but he's the head honcho. He's going to lead them in the direction that he wants. So everyone is surprised about the WEF video circulating describing the positive impact that Bitcoin can have on the environment. Just remember, their change in tone didn't happen by accident. CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, is on the WEF board of trustees. BlackRock is the largest spot Bitcoin ETF provider in the world, and they're adding billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in Bitcoin every week to their fund. Make no mistake, the narrative is changing. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? If you can, smash the like button, hit subscribe if we vibe. Real quick shout out to today's sponsor, the Bitcoin Way, Master Bitcoin Self-Custody Solution, 25 years experience in cybersecurity. This is Safe Dean Moose, the author of the Bitcoin Standard. The Bitcoin Way is a service I've always wanted. Prevent irreversible Bitcoin loss due to security flaws. A couple of things that they do really, really well. You can learn about air-gapped wallets, learn how to verify your Bitcoin transactions with your own node, bypassing the third parties. This pretty much sums it up. You can sort out your wallets leaking your data, exchanges blocking access to your Bitcoin, hackers accessing your computer data, connecting to public USB and charging ports, malware-infected USB cables and flash drives, connecting to rogue Wi-Fi access points. When you hold Bitcoin in self-custody, 100% responsibility. I reached out to these guys. I've had Tony on the show a couple of times. They've helped me with my Bitcoin solution. First 30 minutes is free. Have put a link at the top of the description there for you. If you need any help with the storing to make sure it's super secure, jump over to the Bitcoin Way today. And as at the start, we brought up that video of Michael Saylor, the second video. He read all the Bitcoin books. He was watching the podcast. Shout out to Brian Dement, Bitcoin Evangelism. I'll actually bring it up here. So Bitcoin Madeira as well. Seb Bunny, which is the author of Beers for Bitcoin and The Hidden Cost of Money, saw Brian Dement, Princey, and Knut over in Madeira. Such a pleasure listening to Brian and Princey chat. He's looking forward to reading his new book. I'm looking forward to reading the new book. Read this book first and then jump over to Parallel when it comes out on the date of the halving, which will be super cool. Okay, let's go over to the charts here. So drew this morning. This is my TA. Bitcoin's going up and to the right forever. In the meantime, up, down, and sideways. We've got $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days. In Australia last week, we had a $10,000 day. A God candle, it happened. It's already in play. Cross that off our list. Now we need to add another 10,000. So we're going to have $20,000, $30,000 days, both to the up and to the downside. We're not even at the halving yet. And things are amazing. They're getting hectic, a whole lot of fun. Just be prepared for that mindset shift you need to go through. So let's jump into the numbers here as we get the block clock loading. There's a couple of cool numbers on here. Here we go. Block height 833,008, local time 5:46. We'll zoom in better on the price, but roughly 62,768 sats per USD. It just keeps going down. 1,593, but the next halving, 6,992, 6992 halving to go. Number of the universe, 3, 6, and 9, Nikola Tesla. It's all gravy, baby. How's it getting better than that? We do see the block times. If I shoot over, let me do this and I can zoom in for you. As it loads, the joys of computers. So 62,777, but 10 minutes on the dot. Next difficulty adjustment, it's doing absolutely nothing. If it stays like that, hash rate is going up at an insane rate, and we are looking at April 21st. I reckon there's a huge possibility we get it on a 420 this year. We'll see what happens. Pretty good TA, Crypto Gator. Bitcoin's winning again regarding the US government demanding the miners that fill out the energy forms. Just got thrown out of court with the US government having to pick up the legal bill. Let's go. That's the power of Bitcoin. Bitcoin advocates getting together, creating a bit of noise, protecting this industry. I did see that. That was absolutely fantastic. VT Gothic, so the WEF is the tool, not the boss. I think we're going to see a play to authorize regulated Bitcoin, discourage or persecute unregulated. They will lose that fight, but they will try. I agree as well. I think it's just a matter of time, and they can't do it all over the world. Anyway, things like VPNs, theoretically, you can change what location you are in. Cybersecurity experts, Bitcoin Way, maybe talk to them if you need help. But the dollar has no bottom, so Bitcoin has no top. Tony Love, when Larry speaks, they bend the knee. I've just started working with the Bitcoin Way team. Tony is absolutely fantastic to work with. He makes it so easy to set everything up. Skins my experience as well. Glad you're enjoying them there. So let's jump back in. Peter McCormack, this is absolutely epic. I've been chatting with Peter as well to have him on the show. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe if we vibe. But this is pretty interesting. There's this dude here, Black Swan. He's a finance bro. I don't gamble. If I was a gambler, I'd just buy magic internet money and hope my bags were pumped enough to get rich. I'd buy real assets. This is Peter saying if Bitcoin hits 100K by the end of the year, you pay me $100,000. If it doesn't, I'll pay you $100,000. Dude wouldn't take it, even though he doesn't believe Bitcoin's going anywhere. So Peter mixed it up a bit. He said, okay, so what you mean is you have zero conviction behind your claims regarding Bitcoin. Have asked yourself, and he had a moment there, when someone was willing to bet you. I tell you what, let's up the odds. I'll give you 5 to 1. So if Bitcoin hits 100K this year, you owe me 20K. If it doesn't, I'll pay you $100,000. Ready? Or are your nuts still shrinking? That's pretty boss move. Total respect to Peter McCormack for it. The guy did not take the bet at all. Nobody can fight Bitcoin. It's pretty easy to find out where people's intentions lie when you measure it against the world's hardest asset in every regard. We'll have Opti on Wednesday. Today's Monday here in Australia, so it'll be Tuesday afternoon, about 2:35 ET time. And we'll be talking about Bitcoin and how it aligns you as a person with truth, among many other things. Tune in for that. But James Lavish, this is like someone who makes 100K per year, is already carrying 5 million in debt and is adding another 140K of debt every 3 months. So the US debt rises $1 trillion, only $1 trillion in 100 days. It's rising about $1 trillion every 100 days, according to the Bank of America. Up and to the right, the higher this number goes debt-wise, like we're just building a house of cards. The whole world, it's like this everywhere, unless you're on a Bitcoin standard. So slowly, then suddenly, but eventually I see them just going crazy on the money printer, printing as much dirty fiat as they can to get as much Bitcoin and playing that game as much as possible without crashing their dollar for as long as possible, slowly, then suddenly, and then we won. We're seeing the shift so quick. They're putting the building blocks in place so Bitcoin's acceptable now for everyone on the world stage. Now, Bill Miller tells CNBC we're in the very early innings today of a massive capital repricing event. We are massive bulls on this. 2 minutes 59. I'm going to play about 1 minute 30 of it. So articulate, really well said, and this is where we are on the Bitcoin adoption curve.
But not only do you own it, in mid-January when we spoke, you spoke about the bull case, and it's more than doubled since then. Obviously, we know what Bitcoin prices themselves have done, but MicroStrategy, a bit of a leverage play on it. So I guess, what do you think at these levels, and where can it go?
Oh, we absolutely love it still, Michael. Thanks for having me on. It's our largest holding at about 14.5%. And it still has a massive runway ahead of it. You know, it's our position that we are in the very, very early innings today of a massive capital repricing event.
This is really important. So listen, it's over to Bill.
So we're going to the digital pricing of capital is becoming digital. Okay. And so if you look at the data on Bitcoin right now, what you see is that the realized capitalization, this is very different. It's different than the market cap. It's the realized capitalization of Bitcoin. The average Bitcoin, what the realized cap shows you is the price at which every last Bitcoin has traded. That's 24,000 today. Why is that important? Well, it tells you that the average Bitcoin holder is up 150% on their investment right now. It also tells you that $500 trillion of fiat right now has been, $500 billion of fiat right now has been converted into Bitcoin. It's been repriced. There's hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital out there today, and we're only at 500 billion being repriced into Bitcoin.
How bullish is that? There's hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital out there, and we're only at 500 billion in Bitcoin. Everything's going to be repriced in Bitcoin. There's going to be an event. I'll repost that on X at Sean Clark 911. The last 1.5 minutes of it well worth the listen. That was pretty epic. So British Hodl, shout out to British Hodl. I like British Hodl. For the people that say the world has 10, for Bitcoin to get to 1 million, understand this. At the bear market multiple of 55, it would take a cash injection of 382 billion. At the BOFA bull market multiple of 118, it would be just $178 billion. 1% of BlackRock and Fidelity's own assets under management is $145 billion. This includes no other demand source. The world wouldn't even notice if Bitcoin hits $1 million. So when are we going to get $1 million, British Hodl or anyone else? Nobody's putting a time target on it. Some people do. You can't give a time target and a price target at the same time. It just doesn't work. In a period of time, maybe you can get the trend right. Pretty irresponsible. But $1 million, I believe it's a certainty over a long enough period of time. And there's still a possibility it doesn't happen, but I don't believe it's going to zero. If it's not going to zero, we're going to $1 million. In my opinion, you need to do you. But why not buy something at $62,000? Hold it for the next 5, 10, 15 years. 2034, as Michael Saylor was saying at the start, Bitcoin's stock to flow ratio goes to infinity. This is so exciting. That's only 10 years. Like, think back about how fast the last 10 years have gone, no matter what age you are. And they get quicker and quicker and quicker. 10 years is going to go like that. The world is going to be so different. We're seeing it with AI, this attack from the Matrix trying to control people. You've got this opportunity now to be able to change your life, to be able to have solid purchasing power, to stay the new elite. In my opinion, make the most of it. This opportunity, it gets boring. It's at 62,000. It's been here for a couple of days, and we feel like, it's over. It's the end of days. But sometimes it's nice to push the green button, the red button. Just stack as many sats as possible. Don't try time the bottom. Don't try time the top. It's just about accumulating those sweet Satoshis, making the most of it. Now, Mudge, this in Australia here. Australia's biggest bank is leaning into the Zimbabwe playbook and introducing capital controls to stop people from fleeing the fast appreciating AUD, the Australian dollar. Bitcoin all-time high in Australia. Bitcoin is going up, or the AUD is going down. You're only allowed to transfer $10,000 per month, and then they stop it, and then they send you this letter. Your recent payment to a cryptocurrency exchange has been declined because you've exceeded the monthly cryptocurrency limits. There are ways around this, and if you need help, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. But this, it's a pain. It's annoying, and they even stop it. Like, I'm with this bank, and they're so annoying. So as well as that, they also stop it for up to 24 hours. They've held it for 48 hours, 3 days for me. They're a pain. It's bad, and it's happening everywhere. And why are they putting this thing in now? Because maybe it's not a problem right now, today, that for people that want to move over $10,000 a month, it's a bit of a problem. There are ways around, and they're fairly simple. But when we get to a point where this is just the normal, we're looking back in 5 years, and there is a repricing of the world's currencies, and there's this massive flow to Bitcoin, and you're stuck at $10,000 a month, and Bitcoin just keeps going up and up and up. I think it's control. That's the matrix there. It should be your money, your choice, but no. Everything else in the world, you're allowed to do whatever you want, but you're not allowed to move your money. The world's insane, absolutely insane. Julian Linger, but we're on Bitcoin, so it's all good. Don't get me wrong. I'm positive. I'm so hopeful for the future. Julian Linger, interesting what BlackRock with $9 trillion asset under management writes about Bitcoin, the ETF brief that goes out to all their clients. The key takeaway: Bitcoin is the best performing asset of the last decade and the best store of value asset of the next decade. So do you remember on Bitcoin Twitter, there's like red light, green light, green light, green light, red light, and then it just repeats. So 1 red, 3 green. Well, BlackRock just does it in black. But look at that. Bitcoin up 5,500%. They keep going up with all the ups, and then just the 3 down years. In 15 years, Bitcoin's only been down 3 times. Pretty exciting there. How cool, hey? If we see it here, 2023, we've got another 2 greens potentially coming in. This time, I believe, is different. In what way? Who knows? When we go from 51,000 to 62,000 in a week, or really in a day, when that happened last week, it chills out for a while. Maybe we have a $10,000, $20,000 day. Maybe we come down a bit. I don't know if that's going to happen right now. We are starting to build a solid support. Maybe we drop down to as low as 58, maybe not. Who cares? The sats are cheap. And Bitcoin is absolutely ripping, according to CNBC. We'll just play just their intro there. They're so excited.
Well, hi, everybody. Good evening here. Good afternoon out west. I'm Brian Sullivan. All that and more coming up over the hour. But first up on Last Call, the Bitcoin breakout. It boomed today. Bitcoin briefly hitting 64,000 for the first time.
It's cool seeing mainstream news really turning bullish. Bitcoin, we're going to talk about it. Boomed today. And there we are. Bitcoin on the price chart. In the mainstream news, the narrative is shifting. World Economic Forum changing their tune. They have been for a little while, but this is the blatant switch around, and they can then point back to the Crusoe energy. Michael Saylor, 10-year bull run. Let's go. That's why we're here. Number go up, technology. We see nations jumping in there. Oman with a $370 million hydro-cooled Bitcoin mining project. 40-second clip. We'll play a little bit.
The first phase of this project in the field of specialized data centers comes as a part of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology's endeavor to promote digital investment and localization of advanced technologies. The project is expected to achieve a quarter of its full capacity before the end.
And they go into a couple of technicals as well. But Oman Bitcoin mining, this is the start of the future, really. Like you're here right now. Nation states are adopting Bitcoin miners. It's happening more and more and more. Peter Shiff and gave him a little bit of kudos over the weekend, and try not to be so harsh on Peter Shiff. I will not be talking positively about him on his Bitcoin stance because it's such a shame. Peter Shiff, he's a smart guy, he's an intelligent guy. He understands most things. He understands hard money, but because he's got this gold business, he dunks on Bitcoin. He used the Bitcoin brand to be able to push his agenda, get the engagement. And that's why I'm not interacting with him that much on those points, because he's using Bitcoin to leverage the gold play. Incredibly better. All he needs to do is say, I was wrong, ego's in the way. And Peter Shiff was talking on X the other day. Gets a lot of things right. You want to give him credit. But because he is so despicable towards Bitcoin, you can't trust him, which is a shame because the majority of what he has to say is high value. But because we know he's lying in regards to Bitcoin and trolling the community, it's hard to believe anything coming out of his mouth. Anyway, I'm going to try put up with it. And Peter Shiff had to say this, and I thought it was good. The national debt is now over 34.4 trillion. It's risen over 400 billion in the past 2 months. That's a pace of 2.4 trillion per year. That's a bit slower than it's been, but still about 500 billion faster than official estimates. So I expect the pace to pick back up soon. Pick back up. The world's already having enough problems with inflation. I'd really hope there is something hard, digital, that we can store our value in. And that's this. We just push the big green button. But we'll give them credit there. And the flows just don't stop. So this is Bitwise Hunter Horsley, CEO. 42 million inflow in Bitcoin today. 100 million of trading volume, 128 million total inflows in 1 week. This is a relatively small Bitcoin ETF provider. Total assets under management now over $1.5 billion. Wall Street's going to see this. Banks around the world are going to see this. Everyone around the world is watching what is happening on Wall Street. And for Bitwise to have such huge volumes in such a short period of time, such a large scale amount of assets under management, and 36 trading days, is it? For that to happen? People are starting to wake up that Bitcoin is to be taken seriously. Even the WEF changing their tune. Let's go. Check out that market cap 1234.9696. So we've got the 69 in there, but 1234, the universe is aligned. The market cap $1.234 trillion. That's absolutely amazing. Bitcoin will just hit refresh on here and see where the price is going. So it's just sideways since I woke up this morning. We did have a little bit of a pump out 2:30 this morning. I believe that was last night, and this morning this should be the 24 hours. So had a couple of pump ups, maybe go a little bit sideways, up, down, and sideways. That's what happens with Bitcoin. So I'm going to jump over to the comment section. Shout out to everyone that is watching live or the replay. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If we vibe, the rules of Bitcoin: buy, stack, and chill. Super easy. Take 100% responsibility, accountability. Do not leave your Bitcoin on exchange. PSA out of the way. How is everyone today? It's good to see you all. My friend was talking to an ex-banker, and he was telling him he wouldn't touch the ETF's Bitcoin. He told him government bonds were a safe bet. I wish I had a hype button. That's so bullish. Bonds, government bonds. Let's all go get out of here. Probably been wasting our time with Bitcoin. I think we should all just ape into the government bonds. Sounds like a fantastic deal. On X over the weekend, like, what's the problem with really highly educated people, especially in finance? They've been brainwashed to such a high degree that even if they hear about Bitcoin over and over and over again, it just doesn't click. It's so sad. And are they trying to control their power, or is it just ignorance and just, I don't know, people are still bought into that magic internet money narrative that's been going on? Government bonds, GW, yes, Bitcoin might rise. Real assets and tax around them will go down in long term. If not, Bitcoin will decimate everything. So many are ignorant and stubborn. Absolutely, Nate. Nate, for real, I don't have the patience for that. If someone shows interest, I'll bestow what little knowledge I have. Otherwise, I do not bother. Rob, Oz and Gold. I realized how manipulated it was. I returned to transactional stocks until I discovered Bitcoin. Absolutely awesome, Rob. I think gold, like having an understanding of gold, every gold bug is a Bitcoiner, even if they don't know it. Even Peter Shiff, they're very similar. The sales point is the same, if not so closely aligned. It's hard. It's a great store of value. It's transportable, divisible, durable, all the properties, but it's not digital. And so Bitcoin's just better digital. Gold, among other things, it's way better than that. The world's best form, pristine collateral. I understand all that. But just one-to-one, it's just a little bit better. And when the gold people do, like Lawrence Lepard, he's like, it's my mission to be able to get the gold people just to wake up and realize what peeps and what they do is really the same. Shiff has lots of both. Yeah, I highly speculate Peter Shiff, along with Jamie Dimon, both have a lot of Bitcoin, and they're both getting their children. There's speculation. I'm just making stuff up. This is just what I think. It's either in a trust or their children are holding it for them and they don't own it. But Spencer sold all his Bitcoin, obviously, has probably heard in his dad's brand there. I just want to try something and see if no. Doesn't work. That's cool. The debt is a hard number to get your head around. The debt is absolutely insane. Peter Shiff needs Bitcoin like the Joker needs Batman. McLovin, sadly, their arrogance won't allow them to snap out of the mind control system. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them take the orange pill. It's a shame, hey? Like, it'd be just awesome if you could be like, there, you've got 1,000 hours of Bitcoin training in your mind. You've downloaded that data set like they do in the Matrix, where they plug in. Well, what's that other one where they, in the Matrix? Yeah, it is the Matrix, and they load the programs on. That would be a good program to get implanted, but we're not at that stage. And when we are at that stage, the stuff they're going to put into people's heads will not be about Bitcoin hard money. They're going to do everything they can to brainwash you. So it's literally, you need to read the books, watch the podcasts, study as much as possible, but ultimately you just need to buy a stack and chill. It's super easy there. Trying to orange pill people is harder than converting Christians to free thinkers. Let's religion, let's respect all religions. We're all a massive brother and sisterhood here on the planet, and for me, God, the great outdoors. But one race, there's humans. I know that's in good faith, but let's stop the swearing. Anyway, would work better. How about an orange dart gun? Wouldn't that be cool? You just walk around like a Nerf gun and just get people going. They're like, ooh, I better go home and buy some Bitcoin. And they're like, how do I do this? They jump on there. They're like, oh, I need to read the books. They read the books real quick. They're like, cool, I've read the books. I've watched the show. Now let's buy some Bitcoin, go over there. And then you need to get your photo and you need to send it so that you can get verified to put it into cold storage. You need to order a cold storage device and know, oh, how do we do this? Well, you can reach out to people, or you just read all the books, do it. But imagine if you could shoot that Nerf gun and they knew exactly what to do. That would be incredibly epic. It's time to stay calm. Bitcoin has a long way to go. Into the forest, I agree, but it's so exciting every day in Bitcoin. It just keeps going up and to the right over a long enough period. I'm all for the upside, the downside. I don't care. $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days. Let's get rid of the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days, up and down. Make the most of it. If you're in Australia, Bitcoin Alive on the 22nd, 23rd of March, I will be there saying g'day. Really looking forward to that. Hit subscribe if we vibe. Buy, stack, and chill. Be blessed. Peace.